The Critical Hit podcast contains foul language, sexual subjects, and other things that are inappropriate for children. Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
Hello, world, and welcome to an episode of Critical Hit, a foul-mouthed podcast where we talk about anything. Today is a very special episode hosted by me, Chrono Warden, and with me always is my co-hosts.
Hello! It's a special
These
day.
gloves, man.
Yes, as you would have seen in my frame already, we're talking Daggerheart today.
Yeah.
It's an unboxing.
This has been like on the list of like exciting things that is coming up for us. I can't wait to check this out.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
So already just box cover art. It's the same cover on the book, but like,
Ooh, I love
beautiful
what
stuff.
they got going on here with it.
What we'll try to do is maybe we'll
Look at that.
try to
know.
pop that into the frame.
Look at the behold.
but yeah, like the book is just nuts. Like, it's even got like the marker ribbons in it.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, marker ribbons are...
Just, I know you can't smell it because we're not that advanced in technology yet, but like if you've ever smelled new book, like
I'm just go to everybody's houses and just start hitting them with a book.
just going door to door.
have you heard about our savior? New book smell.
So
Oh, the art is
right off the jump,
beautiful.
yeah. So like,
So show that page to the camera. Yeah, let's
It's
just talking about the classes too. Yeah, and the subclasses.
Just well printed, just
so
beautiful.
I think I talked a lot of crap about Wizards of the Coast, bumping their art so hard, but legitimately this has got some amazing art.
I haven't even
That-
seen that page.
What? Yo, that looks like a dang Sith Lord. That's cool. That's the new Darth right there. And I like the fact that it looks like you have two books because that
Yeah.
looks like a book too.
Yeah, so the card chest.
Ooh, look at that. Beautiful.
That's
Which-
amazing.
I literally have not opened these cards yet. I've been saving it for this.
Which we greatly appreciate because
So obviously this is Daggerheart. This is the full retail version. It's not the pre-release. Obviously Darrington Press, the house that Matt Mercer built, and
who I think might be one of the most mentioned people on our podcast.
yeah, tent your hands. As always, tent your hands.
It might be unintentional.
Unintent.
Unintentional. I just hit my mic.
The table mic, they haven't been around for a minute, and
Well, I keep doing this.
I don't know
thing
what to do.
which is just dangerous.
Remember, you can't run past tents. You can only ran past them.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's way too high. You should stop.
I stole that joke, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, even like the container comes out because you can slot your cards in here. But no, I've been looking at the PDF and I've been reading some of the new stuff that changed from the open beta. And
Can I get that little card chest? I want to look at this a little bit more.
yeah, for sure.
Because that stag. Whoa.
Yeah. So I've actually been,
the art on that is amazing.
yeah, that three-eyed
That's
stag.
beautiful. Wow.
So I've been updating my character sheets because we're still in an active campaign.
So you get to just transfer everything over
Yeah.
to having the official stuff. This is like
That
that's
is
cool.
really cool.
So let me get that guy in the frame here.
So as a thing, this is going to be a YouTube episode.
Yes, this will be YouTube exclusive because we can't really unbox with audio.
The
Yeah.
first CritTube exclusive. Subscribe. Ring the bell.
Hit the-
Like.
what? Yeah, I it's weird because I watch a lot of YouTube, do not know how to do the thing.
It's usually like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put you on that. That's expediting.
I've heard it. So listen,
I've heard it too, but I can't. When it comes time, it's just like
I sound threatening when I'm doing it. So
like subscribe.
I did like okay the one time, and then it was like subscribe, like, which it wasn't supposed to be. It was just supposed to be like, hey, subscribe. Not Bandit Keith out here against Maximilian Pegasus, but
That is amazing.
yeah, beautiful. What a perfect segue because we're about to talk about some cards here.
Perfect segue.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the back of the card art yet.
Oh, what?
Oh, okay, so it's got that.
It's
that
got-
hope and fear motif.
It does, and it also has different symbols based on, I
What?
believe, the discipline, or well, domain is what they're called.
Dang, dude.
They just spared no expense.
They did not, because each artist has a credit in the bottom left of the card.
No way.
So
They got artists for every card.
they kind of did. It almost feels weird to mention it in Magic the Gathering because they've been in so much trouble for AI art.
Yeah.
But like, it is kind of in a similar fashion to the how everyone had a. I've got no ability to peel
Yeah.
this damn thing with these gloves.
He Michael Jackson to get
Yeah,
the
so
plastic
here,
off.
you guys can look at those cards.
We should have got a disposal so we could get rid of the plastic here.
Eh,
Listen, let
So
me.
the Druid cards are
so that should just be like
wait, so they have-
subclasses, and yeah, each subclass has its own unique art.
and they have it seems like they have a couple of the cards. Now is that so that multiple players can have kind of the same
So you should see foundation, specialization, and mastery.
okay.
So at each of the higher tiers, so your character starts as a tier 1 character. So at level 1, you're a tier 1 character. Once you hit tier 2, which is levels 2 through 4, you get some nice stuff. Once you hit tier 3, you can specialize in your subclass or you can multi-class,
Okay, okay.
which lets you start doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah. Let's get a little.
trying to show the camera.
Let's get a little. We can get a little display of each one of these going. I could do a little setup thing here. I'll put it on this.
So it's a lot it's like similar but it's different, you know. I think obviously anybody who has played a D20 system, though this is not a D20 system,
No, it is not. It's a 2d12.
I'm sure it's similar, but it's got to be noted that this is not.
Ooh.
It's going to be the
specialization card.
and just look at it. These
Syndicate Rogue, yeah.
Cooks.
that is amazing. And I'm thinking, almost to say it now and to say it here, like it's going to be the biggest non D&D game.
Listen, don't judge me. I saw Rick Grimes as soon as I looked at this guy.
Oh, it kind of does.
I swore for a second. I was like, wait a second. I'm like Andrew Lincoln.
Andrew Lincoln, what's up, brah?
Lincoln Lee Wilson's favorite person.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little. Cause I also want to get a nice little spread out on this. Well, that doesn't sound right, does it? I want to get a nice little display going on this table.
So they've got spells. I'm looking at all these different spells. So that's obviously all the different like classes and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll get that. I'll get these on a nice display just because this is going to be something you're going to be looking at a lot.
So kind of tell me a little bit about the or tell everyone a little bit about the like the play style. So
Somebody's
obviously
34 this so fast.
what?
just the other character on this other card.
Why do you have that eye?
I'm just letting you know.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know.
That's fascinating. I'm telling you right now.
So, before that, I will say, Critical Role is actually running one of a short mini campaign from the Age of Umbra campaign setting in this book.
Right. Very
starting, I think, either tonight or next Thursday.
What? Okay.
Gets up and immediately leaves. I'm going to watch some professionals play some board games.
But so the game is, I think, one of the biggest things that Daggerheart does better, and here I am hand tensing.
I was looking at it.
I'm just going to keep doing it because it is something I actually do as well. But it's a lot more cooperative based. Like I was reading through some of the rules and stuff, and just like even session 0 is really sit down, and because you may only have one set of cards. So if 2 people want to play the same class, maybe discuss amongst yourselves, hey, I'll take this if you want this.
Yeah. Yep. Which I think is good anyways. And I know we spoke about this before, but I think what you sometimes miss, depending on your table, what you miss oftentimes in a campaign setting is actual genuine teamwork.
Yes.
And not just like, hey, let me do the cool thing.
So one of the problems with D&D is that a lot of times you make your character solo, right?
Yeah.
And then you show up at the table, and then all of a sudden you've got 4 warlocks and a barbarian.
Right.
Because you have 5 edgelords and the guy that just wants to smash. We don't know how, but
Yeah.
Like, how exactly are you planning to smash? Yes.
Yes. Like that.
I will be multi-classing into Bard.
Like, oh
Tells you
no!
everything.
Barbarian is a fun-ass build. So in D&D 3.5, there's actually a prestige class called War Scald. You're literally in the middle of the battlefield with like a fucking horn, hitting people with it and shit.
Wow.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll
And
take 2 of those.
it gives you like straight up just fucking rage mechanics to use with your like inspire courage and
So,
stuff.
dude, you could be like a metal screamer.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Oh no way! They got the ancestries now.
Yep.
Oh, you,
So they are finalized. Yep. So, but that's the biggest thing with it, right? The clank.
what is Clank about?
They're sentient
a robot.
machines.
Yeah.
They are the
It's Warforged.
just with
okay.
like more personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Very
Like
cool.
and right. I'm gonna be a little bit glazy. I am. Dracona is
Dragonborn.
better.
I mean, I agree.
It's that. It's just better.
Yeah.
It's like the new evolution, Glazion.
Yeah.
Smoke type.
Smoke.
Wow. Only Pokemon with that typing. And you're like, shouldn't coughing and wheezing be under that? No.
Like no.
Like, no, chill. You'll figure it out.
Like this is particular. We don't need to-
His eyes are so red he can see through the night. Unfortunately, he has 0% accuracy.
Yo,
This is so cool. And like, so to kind of like draw the comparison, I want to be a giant boy.
You can have between 1 and 3 eyes. You can be a Cyclops.
That's amazing.
dude, I'm actually gonna look
So,
up
like-
some of these artists because legitimately this art is crazy.
So there's a lot of ancestries.
There's
to-
18.
just to start with. And one issue that I had with, say, like PF2E, which I'm a PF2E stan 100%. I'm not gonna ever back down from that. But some of the classes were like a little bit ill-defined. So like a Shisk or a Shuni or a the Azarketi.
Fucking
It's
sounds like
like-
you're making this shit up.
He's casting a spell right now. And someone's Alexa just turned their microwave on and fried their house.
Shisk, Shuni, or Azarketi.
Prime directive activated. Terminating microwave.
Like, huh?
Nani?
Suddenly you just hear it in the back with a ton of reverb.
Oh my gosh. But it's, like if I were to ask you what any of that means. Like, it's
Isn't the Shiska lizard person?
no, that is might be.
We'll flash it up on the screen.
So, like, it's a lot more easily defined. You know, like a Furbolg, they're just weird shaped headed humans.
Yeah.
And like,
They're cow people.
yeah, the fungril, if you listen to the name,
Did you have a fungril?
So one of my fellow players in the campaign is a fungal rogue.
Okay.
Nice.
I knew it was either you or one of your other players.
Yes.
you know, Galapa definitely has that turtle vibe.
Yeah.
You don't need to know. Like, you can almost build it in your head what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Because, like, right, it's
Ribbit.
Obviously Galapagos, you know.
My fucking ribbon.
Wait, they did the thing.
Yeah, you can be a goblin.
Okay, so the thing. So here's the thing.
I know what joke I'm putting in there.
Pretty goblins.
Yeah.
I know a place where you can find some pretty goblins.
Apparently this universe got pretty goblins. Which, you know, we've got. I don't need green short stacks in my life. I just don't need that.
Well, is that kind of bluish? You can have bluish.
You know, like halfling, all this stuff. Like Infernus, you could definitely tell it's their tiefling. The Qatari, you don't need to. If someone said Qatari without first showing you a picture, you can kind of surmise.
At least get an idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm not gonna lie, that is fucking Chrono Trigger as fuck. Right
You can make frog.
Ribbit, my fucking ribbit.
So there's several like videos on YouTube about building
Simia.
frog in
Gosh,
from Chrono Trigger.
from Chrono Trigger
that's
and
cool.
Daggerheart.
That's very cool. And that's the one thing I really
that
like.
just looks so amazing. The art is just so good on this.
So there's also mixed ancestry.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So can you build it? Can you just mix any two ancestries?
Yes, there is rules for it, however. So
course.
basically, you see how each ancestry has two abilities?
Right.
So you can take a top ability and a bottom ability from one. You can't just mix and match.
Okay.
Okay.
So
No power bottoms.
in the earlier parts of the playtesting, like you could just mix and match whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's, let's say you make a Simia elf. You can take the bottom ability from Simia and the top ability from elf.
You know what? I don't got too much of a guff with that. I feel like it's good that they have the option there. And even if they have a bit of regulation behind it.
Well, it's because like during the open beta, people like they had people send in their craziest builds. And someone was able to do like 749 damage in a single round.
And just like break the game.
Well, so it's funny because of the way the damage thresholds work in the game. Like enemies have that too, right?
Oh, I'm gonna make a character. I need to. I'm hooked.
So I also wanted to say, this is what I wanted to say a little earlier, but I like how you can see the inspirations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you look at the art on the cards and you look at the art on the covers, you could see the inspiration behind the creation of like certain ancestries and certain classes. Not only was it inspired by tabletop, obviously, but it was also, you could see clear RPG game influence.
So it's great because in the book they mention like in specific sections like what touchstones Final Fantasy got mentioned, stuff like that, right? Like
that is very cool. And like it literally makes me want to go and like find. I will go
look at some of these
arts.
arts, man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold up. That's not good.
I like the community cards. I like that it's once again everything's really well defined. So it's like lore born, right? You're part of a society that like focuses
Values knowledge,
focuses on knowledge. Highborn, orderborn. So like you're kind of like in a religious society.
Yep.
You know, Ridgeborn, where you're nomadic. Seaborn, where you're a seafarer. Underborn.
Wanderborn.
Yeah, like it's just
Wild boy.
Yeah.
and when you talk about it, like when you read I can only imagine it's very simple to get through building a character because it all seems like it's straight English when they speak about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't seem like there's a hell of a lot of clutter. Cause right, I love PF2E. Like the amount of options is insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously,
Especially with Starfinder 2E coming out and being fully compatible.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, oh great, now I've got like, just picking my race is gonna be or species, right?
Yeah.
Just picking my ancestry is
Gotta make it PC.
no. I actually like the ancestry as a phrase, as phrasing. I like it because there's much more to it than just your
Outward appearance.
your outward makeup,
Right.
your physical
and
makeup.
So that is one of the things about this game, right? Because you get your ancestry and you pick a community. And that gives you a touchstone to build off of a character's backstory.
Wait, that reminds you a little bit of Dragon Age a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of Dragon Age.
They mentioned Dragon Age Inquisition as also being an influence in the game.
Boy,
so.
that's the one thing I like. That is cool because like the level of like passion and inspiration that goes into it when you can see it clearly
Popping out, yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Because, so the party and the campaign that I'm playing that my wife is the GM of, I have a highborn fairy seraph of Nyx, the goddess of night, a
Cool as shit.
wildborn elf rogue syndicate,
Which,
yeah. And then I should say he's a divine wielder seraph. And then I also have a third character who is a seaborn Infernus bard,
right.
wordsmith.
Like Call of the Slayer or this art for the warrior.
Yeah, Call of the Slayer,
Like-
that foundation.
That is just
Let me take a look at that sucker.
Warrior. So here's the cool part, right? You'd think warrior might be a strength-based class. It can be. Warrior is technically agility.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's only 2 classes in the game that don't have spell casting. It's Guardian and Warrior. Every other class has spell casting.
So I kind of like that because that's a cool twist because I feel like if you look at past tabletop systems or even just anything with really a class system,
Yeah.
when you look at warrior and barbarian, they start to kind of like the lines blur very quickly.
it's like, oh, I can rage.
It's like, oh, I'm just mad warrior.
Well, especially in like D&D 3.5, right? Like, so after getting to use the Tome of Battle, would you guys ever play a straight fighter or barbarian if you ever played that system again? Right? Like,
Nope.
because
Nazar.
you got to do fun stuff with melee.
Yeah, yep. It's like the answer to that is a resounding
Yeah.
fuck no.
Like you are not gonna screw me over on doing cool shit. Like as a spellcaster, right? You can alter reality. You could just make anything do anything.
Yeah.
With the marshals,
I'm trying to.
I mean they
Oh,
freaking
that's
hamstrung
such cool
them.
card art. So this is actually one of my favorite spells in the game.
I feel like this is one of those ones where you.
Words of Discord.
Okay.
So if an enemy's in melee with you, you can make them hit another enemy. The campaign frames is such a cool thing.
Ooh.
So. sorry to be sort of interruptive, but
Nah, it's cool. We're nerding out here. I'm
dude,
here
this
for
is
it.
one of those books where, like, I feel like any page you open to, you can find just a cool image of something. It's like,
Yo, because I talked so much shit about WotC for saying, oh, the art's just really great.
look at that Besaid ass fucking. Oh,
Yeah, you got to show the camera, sir.
It's really just good
Look at
art.
that. Oh my gosh, dude. It's like Tarzan and the Besaid Isles.
Yo, that's crazy.
Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my gosh, dude, this
And
is crazy.
Legitimately, the book, not that big.
No, it's really not.
Book, not hard to get through.
Oh, I am catching that new book smell though. Damn.
It is.
It's
It
enchanting.
is wild.
Like even the cards have it,
Yeah.
right? Like you open up this card case and it's just
And wow.
And the quality of the cards are really nice. I think, like,
Also, like how Darrington Press is kind of. Look at that logo.
yeah.
They're taking shots, bro. They're just saying we're the new motherfuckers in town.
Yeah.
Like, that is so cool. Yeah, any page you open to is like something remarkable. Look at that. Something remarkable to look at. You know what I mean? Look at that art. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the fucking water elemental origin sorcerer ribbit.
Dude, I kind of, some of these artists need to talk to me. I'm just saying, I need to learn from you.
yeah, and like just kind of like a cursory glance of everything that we've got so far, as it just seems so straightforward.
It really is. It's literally like you can do the recommended array for your class, or you can do, so basically you get to pick, you put a +2 in a stat, 2 +1s in 2 other stats, a -1, and then you have 2 zeros.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think a -1 is cool, because I do think having drawbacks is a very cool thing, because it adds a bit more consequence to decisions that you make.
Well, not only that, no one is good at everything, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many people are truly that like level of a savant?
Well, I mean, it depends on who you're asking. I'm pretty good at it. Sure. You put anything in front of me, and I'll probably fuck it up faster than anybody will ever know. But the one thing about creatives creating things is the level of respect paid to everyone involved. Like, even having the names of each artist in the bottom of the card, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you'll never sit there and have a question of like, oh, are they doing creepy
Shiesty
AI
shit, yeah.
shiesty crap? Are they trying to like, screw somebody over and take advantage of maybe a smaller, lesser known artist or anything? Like, and all of their shine now goes onto them.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Like, that's really amazing. And
Right, because literally you can go like, so just as a random shout out, we've got the brace card from the Bone Discipline. The art is by Rick Hefner.
Yeah.
And it's credited, it'll be real small, but if you flash up this card.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you could literally, I could go to Google now, look up this guy's portfolio, and commission him, right?
Yeah. And it's amazing, like that level of like care. And I hope that Darrington Press and the Critical Role collective, I hope they never lose sight of that, because obviously looking at everything that we have here, there's a serious chance that they're gonna be the big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can kind of just look at things and know it a little bit. And between the popularity they've already built and the effort that has went into this, it looks like this is going to be kind of like the next big thing. So I hope when this does happen, I hope they keep that way of being. I hope that every new print has the same thing, has the name of the artist. I hope that they credit whoever they need to credit.
I see them doing that because like there's a whole like credit section in the book.
Yeah, which is also stunning.
Well, so here's one for you. So we've talked about inclusivity being good, right? There's a combat wheelchair section, and literally one of the rules for the GM is like, hey, unless your table has said it's okay, don't break their wheelchair. But they even have 3 different models. They have a light, an arcane, and a heavy. So if you want to play a wheelchair mounted knight,
that is awesome. Like, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, that was so like
they built sorry, is happening.
no, legitimately, it was one thing that I found that was really interesting, because they had that in Pathfinder as well.
Yeah.
And as far as I can remember, obviously if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like, you know, not for nothing, but homeboys at WotC, they had a 2025 release and didn't add combat wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So it is funny because they also list Pathfinder as one of the influences. They also mention D&D, but
yeah, well, which naturally, I mean,
You gotta. I mean,
that might even be out of obligation at this point. But the thing that I find funny is that you have something like Darrington Press, or forgot Pathfinder people.
Paizo.
You have them building in things like combat wheelchairs, and then a rule of being respectable to the combat wheelchair, and then all the while you have WotC who's just like, if you feel uncomfortable, I'm like,
it should be.
I'm never gonna seriously put an X over my head. I can't deal right now.
So, you know what's interesting is that Daggerheart talks about something like that, right? They're like, you should have something like that in place, and literally all you do is rewind back to the point that doesn't lead to the road. Yeah. So the person that's throwing up the X still has to talk. Because, like, you got to know what the thing that made you uncomfortable is, right?
Yeah. Which I think it's kind of funny to me because it's like, cut out the middleman. Just be like, hey, hold up. That was a little weird. Like, I feel like it feels almost juvenile, which is like, I think a problem that plagues the tabletop community is kind of like being juvenile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, now mind you, we're all getting together to play fucking pretend wizard, but it's like, at the same time, we're fucking adults. Just look at the person and be like, I'm not really too okay with that brutal mutilation scene you just did.
So I think one of my, I don't want to say favorite because it's not a good RPG horror story. So it was a female player playing a female half-elf. The party gets captured by orcs, and the DM told her she's going to be turned into a breeding factory to help breed superior warriors.
That is insane.
Yeah.
First of all, that's just a hentai plot.
Like, tell me you're really into hentai without telling me you're really into hentai, buddy.
Right. It's like, buddy, chill with the crippling hentai addiction.
Yeah, like, you really just get some help. Wash your hands.
Is that sweat or something else?
But like, as soon as he made contact with the table, he left just like grease.
No, it's like,
Oh God.
it's like pop.
He sticks.
You've had enough. You stand up. You're like, I've had enough of your bullshit. You grab him, fucking throw him, and then he lands on the wall.
To the wall.
Oh my gosh.
Geckos up it.
Yep. He's hanging from the ceiling like, I must have the orcs. Like, ew.
Like, terrifying sight, but very ineffective. You know he's not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, you know he's got a bad back.
Just pull out a bottle of soapy spray water. You won't stick anymore.
Your only superpowers.
Like, I swear to my
Well, that's
deity,
how
I'll
those-
kill you.
That's how those human magnets work. That's it. That's all it is. It's just skin oil. So all that stuff they stick to them, if you wash them, they lose their superpower.
That's horrifying to think about. The glazed hand.
Damn.
I had some extra special Dunkin' today.
Damn.
Like, we ain't talking that type of glaze. But, and I think, because we've talked about it too, with the rules of Daggerheart being kind of also friendly to a GM being more active in the gameplay.
Right. Literally, that's one of the things they talk about, that is, it's a cooperative storytelling game, which it's funny because of the other tabletops I've really like read through or played, D&D never really talks about that.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting how, like, avoidant they are of, like, because, you know, a GM's going to be a big part of it regardless. You know what I mean? They make up the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's kind of weird how avoidant they are of having, like, any type of mention of involvement of a GM, or even just because a GM tends to be usually like NPCs and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, unless you as a player offer to play an NPC or something like that, they're pretty much everything in the fucking game.
Well, and it's cool because literally, like, VTM is one of the other ones that talks about it's a cooperative storytelling game, but you are in a harsh world, and younger kindred vampires, for those that don't know anything about Vampire the Masquerade.
Which I know a tiny bit because you explained it to me and I did some cursory reading.
It's a good system. I really do like it.
I think that, you know, I look at systems like this. I look at, like, you know, because another thing I kind of wanted to mention was kind of like how they made the larger sheet, as it were, bite-sized information that is fed to you through things like cards, which I think is a genius because essentially if you look at all of this, this is just an amalgam of a character sheet.
Yeah.
Just in card form.
Yep. Because it's literally like, so my rogue multi-classed into ranger. So I have an animal companion. I can do some ranger shit and I can do rogue shit. All seamlessly built together. And literally it's like primary sheet, my ranger sheet, and then the animal companion sheet all slides in under it. They even have a thing that you can print out and like cut down the middle and put on each side of your sheet that tells you exactly what everything does.
Wow.
That is really cool. Like, that is really cool.
And I think for new players, for a player like me, you know, I've been at this for now close to 3 years.
That's just about it. Might even be 3.
It's going to be
had to have been longer than that.
It might be like 3 years, 3 or 4.
I feel like it is 3. I
feel like it's closer to
wait.
5.
It might be 4. Because I remember having my youngest as a small baby.
That's really
Yeah.
And now my new youngest is a small baby. It's been 4 years. I think it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
So, right, if it's like start a new system, I'm gonna have speed wobbles for like a little bit, just a small amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, the more stuff, because like, right, I never got to play PF2E core.
Yeah.
I've never got to play with just the core races, core classes, core, you know, spell list. I've never done that. It's always been just the maximum amount. So
My goodness, I've been at this for 16 years, boys.
raw.
You will always and forever have more knowledge than I have. I think that's just by default, though, because I seem to be out of my depth a lot.
This game seems like it'd be right up your alley.
Yeah, that's what
and that was, you know, that was a long way of like saying, because right, not only are you sitting here and you have these fairly easy, you know, right? If somebody, I've had players at my table say, I'm gonna cast wah wah wah, and you go, okay, right. Tell me, what's it do? Tell me about its range. Tell me about its duration.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish with it? You know,
crickets.
Crickets, man. I'm like, okay, fine. But if you throw one card across the table to me, I'm just like, fair, bro.
Yeah.
Get it, you know?
And like always on reference is kind of a cool thing.
Right.
If you're not looking at a list, because, right, I've, you know, right, your table of players, you know, lists don't work for some of them.
Yes.
You know, if you open the list, because we use the digital stuff,
yeah.
And this might actually inspire me to just run a paper freaking game, but
it's so nice, just the ability. But finish your point.
Exactly. It's not a list. It's so like Rune Ward. The art on Rune Ward tells you it is a rune ass ward.
Yeah.
This is something that even if I'm not thinking about it, it's like looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
It may inspire you to get creative with your spells.
Right.
First of all, it inspires you to use all of your spells.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just...
What is this? Blast Beacon?
Bolt Beacon? So... Deaf Deceiver, tell me what you think that card does. So this is a grace card. It's one of the level 1 options.
Right, like
Deceiver?
Yeah.
It would probably just like add to your ability to run a deception check, right?
Basically, yes. So it's spend a hope to gain advantage on a roll to deceive or trick someone into believing a lie you tell them. So,
Sorry, not to interrupt, but the liquid resource of just hope and fear.
yeah.
But the reoccurring resource thing, because that's another big thing.
And it can replenish and it can deplete, and you could be like, is it kind of the same as slots, or like, as long as you're able to spend it, can you use the spell?
So here's a cool thing about it. So let's say you're doing this on a nice little, like, you're trying to lie to get past the guards. So if you spend a hope to activate Deaf Deceiver and you roll with hope, cancels itself out.
I see.
Okay. Interesting. And like, I think, because we talked about this a little bit, where it's like each class having a very specialized thing. Like, as a fine example, you can build panache as a swashbuckler.
Yeah.
In Pathfinder 2e. And it's like, as cool as that is, if you have
no one else uses panache.
No one else. Exactly.
You can't spend some of your panache for somebody else. I mean, there are some that
right. There's like builds.
Like there was. I remember first playing in Pathfinder 2e, and I remember one of our players talking about building panache, and I didn't even. I was just like, "That's what you did, huh?" I'm like,
can I have some panache?
I would like panache.
So one of the other cool things. So basically, there's 4 categories when it comes to a roll, right? There's a success with hope, a success with fear, a failure with hope, and a failure with fear. Success with hope is your best case outcome.
Yeah.
Success with fear is the GM gets to do something to kind of help push the story forward.
Okay.
Failure with hope is you're still getting something back. So it's not necessarily that bad. Like, you won't convince the guard, but he's not like immediately going to try and arrest you. He's going to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You fail with fear. He's probably drawn blade because he's like, nah, you're up to something shifty. And
ooh, I like that. So now, like, because I think about it even like in a, say you're trying to get information from a guard type of thing, and you fail with hope. It could even be a situation where it's like, I'm not going to tell you nothing, but go talk to Steven down the
right.
street. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's kind of a cool thing because it stops at, and I will say this, with a good GM, you're never going to have a problem where things grind to a halt.
Yeah.
Because that GM is always going to know how to keep things going.
Well, I think Daggerheart also helps with that because I think it would also be a good system for someone to first time GM.
Yeah, that's exactly
because
what I was
a lot of the GM section of the book talks about like, this is what's going to happen. Don't let the story grind to a halt. Have ideas. And this isn't necessarily something that Daggerheart does, but I think the rule of 3 is something that a GM should always try and follow.
Yeah.
Should always have 3 possible routes that can be going at any time. You don't necessarily need to plan all 3 out, but know where they can go.
Yeah.
Because that'll help keep you from grinding things to a halt. And one of the other cool things is that as a player, you can spend hope to give advantage to another player, and you roll the die and add that result to their roll.
So if someone's rolling like shit, you can be like, don't worry.
No, I like
Let me take the wheel.
So my highborn seraph, my fairy character, one of the racial abilities, or one of the abilities of the fairy ancestry, is Luckbender. It's once per session, spend 3 hope, and you can re-roll.
Yo, I like that. And that's what I'm saying is like, it's kind of like this thing where you kind of build systems to keep things going. And it is nice. And it's very friendly to new GMs because I think that, we talked about, obviously, experienced GMs will keep it going. New GMs might hit that point where they don't know how to navigate when people fail to do something.
Yeah.
Because somebody failing to do something doesn't mean everything should stop.
Well, right. And that's even like, I like the 4 categories because you have success with consequence, failure with some kind of consequence, and then bad failure.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you keep those 4 ideas in your head when you're in a scene, it gives you a way to go. If something critically fails, like I said, right, with just that talking to that guard, you said, hey, I can't tell you anything about this, but like you said, go talk to Steve at the tavern down the street.
Yeah. Yep.
Utter failure is you're in combat. And maybe you kill this guy and you find what you need on his body.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Or you could run. I would run. Because I've seen enough Skyrim fucking bullshit. Because then the whole town gets after you.
But it turns out this was a sweat guard, man. That motherfucker trains every day.
He picked you up, threw you on the ground.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Like you're in the mud. And
then pay with your blood.
All that cobblestone just banging your elbows and crap.
Oh my gosh.
As the horses just run over you.
Like that's the last thing ever. Oh my gosh. I remember watching a great many 80s anime that had horse stomping scenes. It was the most harrowing shit I've ever seen.
Remember, that's how they used to quarter you.
Just tie you to horses and make them run.
Well, we were just terrible in the past. We're so much better now. As
Are you sure about that?
We got creepier.
I think we got hornier.
Yes.
You did.
Not true. I've always been this way.
Hornier? Bold of you to assume I wasn't already at my peak level.
Bold of you to assume I wasn't already at the ist.
Yeah, I'm at the ist level. But I think it's really cool, and I do want to give, obviously, Matt Mercer being the big brain behind everything here.
So actually, he's not the lead designer of this system. He's a designer.
Oh, okay.
Spencer Stark.
Yep.
Is actually the lead designer of Daggerheart.
Sounded like a comic book character.
So more,
yeah, especially Marvel with the alliteration. But no, it's really cool. It's always been cool because he's always appeared with Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer is the face of Darrington Press, right? Along with the rest of the Critical Role cast. But Spencer was always there. He was talking about gameplay changes, things like that.
So Spencer Stark, then I'll give flowers to both of them.
Yeah.
Because this is more so just like conceptually as a person or people who have played the game for a very long time and played tabletop systems for a very long time and clearly spent a lot of time learning ins and outs and things that are good and things that are not so good. And you can kind of see the payoff, even not having played it personally myself, just listening to things that are in place. You can see the payoff of all this time working and playing. And I think these are the type of people who need to make these systems, because we've talked about it with WotC, that there are people that are involved with creation that don't fucking play the game.
So when you put a suit in charge of a creative endeavor, and these are the people that generally have the least amount of creativity and humanity,
horrifying results.
You have AI making art for Magic cards.
Oh my god!
Which, let's hope that with this Final Fantasy Magic crossover, they were smart enough to use Yoshitaka Amano's art.
They won't be.
So like,
fuck it up
he is the fucking storyboard artist for Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, and I'll go back to Sigil is like,
wiggle that Sigil.
There were people, there were corner office people who sent out emails like, this isn't a video game. So we have the big wigs on top that don't
understand,
that don't
what's going
get
on. Yeah.
what the product even is. And I think we're not gonna need to really worry about that with like a product like this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because so the problem is that WotC in particular, especially since Hasbro bought them, has been a top-down company.
Yes.
Darrington Press was built by the people that made this game, right?
Yes.
And I think that level of involvement always needs to stay. Like, if you don't play the game you're creating, stop creating it. Pass it on to somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let them take the reins. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's another thing, right? Like, it's really, I don't think Critical Role is going to do another D&D 5th edition campaign.
They ended it. They ended all of the what is it called? Exandria, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting too, because I remember their third campaign, they ended rather quickly.
I mean, it was still like 3 or 4 years long.
It was a long campaign, but it seemed to have wrapped up fast. You know what I mean?
The final act was
yeah, where it was just kind of like, hey, let's get this shit done and over with. Move on to greener pastures. They're not gonna say that, but I'll say it for them.
Yeah, I mean,
but like imagine that now. You are not.
Well, you don't stay in a burning sewage shack like
Yeah, and
Hasbro, you're a big L right now.
The biggest L potentially.
like, here, hold this fucking L, buddy.
Shout out at Ryan Kelly Comedy.
Yes. The like the type of power move being the biggest name, because that was one of the things is I think WotC got comfortable with a lot of the bigger names just not moving for the simple sake of brand recognition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now the biggest name has taken the ball and left.
Yeah.
You know, there are 3 campaigns that they ran in 5th edition. Those are some of the highest streaming content as far as 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, there are still like what's his name? Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of these DMs are still going to run games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look at what they've made.
So, you know what's really interesting mentioning Dimension 20, which is Brennan Lee Mulligan's series? He's done a lot of stuff that isn't in D&D. He kind of has creative freedom. Like, one of the more recent ones they ran on like a modified, what is it? Kids on Bikes system.
Right.
Kids on bikes.
So there's Kids on Bikes, Kids on Brooms, and Teens in Space or something like that is the third one.
It's those 1-page RPGs.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
a little
like
more
that.
than that, but it's like a 20-page PDF. It talks about like freeform RP. It's basically like an entirely a D6 system. And it has kind of a cool thing where like if you fail, you get a token that you can spend to help boost a roll.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's it. Okay. So we have some.
I don't know if that campaign's on YouTube, but look up Mentopolis.
Okay.
That one is Kids on Bikes. I know that one for sure.
Yeah.
And like Freddie Wong of Dungeons and Daddies plays Daniel Fox. Because each character is like a different part of this person's brain. Mm-hmm. It's at the speed of thought, like everything in the campaign.
Oh, that's
they're
really
in this
cool.
dude's brain. It's such a cool setting. And like,
Freddie Wong is like, he's on this like boxing thing. He's going to be like, he's been training up to like do some boxing.
Is it going to be like, what was it, Creator Clash or something like that?
Yeah, the Creator Clash.
Is he going to do that shit? That's nutty. That's cool.
That's cool,
really cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be rooting for him. I might tune in. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that for sure.
Yeah.
So like, what is, because you've been playing this system for, is it like 2 years now?
Has it been that long?
I feel like you've been talking to me about it for a decent amount of time.
I thought the open beta ended in July of last year. So I mean,
ended in July of last. Yeah, so you
about a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're in change. A little
And
bit
then,
change.
of course, you're gonna update all your characters, and we'll obviously have a chance to talk more about the like playing it in its full effect.
Oh yeah, no.
But
if you guys print out a character sheet, we can walk through that later. It's not hard to build a character.
Yeah, listen, I'm just saying, I'm down for this idea. I'm also down for other ideas.
Yeah, no, we've got to play this. I'm making that call right now. We've got to play this.
Yes,
we've got to play
yes,
this
we will.
So like one thing that I'm thinking about as far as like watching, like looking at all these different cards, is it wouldn't be hellishly hard to create and sell a pack.
Absolutely not. So
You
they've talked about that, right? So you have 9 base classes with the 18 domains that currently exist.
18 ancestries.
Yep.
So
9 communities. So even just based on that, right, you already have a ton of customizability.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Expansion's gonna be incredibly easy.
Well, even just like, so let's say like you wanted to make a Spellblade class. Really, the only thing you'd have to design is the foundation, the 2 subclasses, the foundation, the specialization, and the mastery. And then you just would take Codex, which is the spellcasting with like grimoires, and Blade, the discipline, and you put those together. And
yeah, and I think that was a really neat idea they did there, was having, a system that your sheet doesn't have to change, really. Obviously, your stats change.
yeah, when you level up, but
Yeah.
it's so quick.
But everything that you add in via these cards.
Yep.
Which is a really cool idea, because I think, Pathfinder just 2E just updated with new classes and everything like that. And this, depending on how you're running it, if you're running it via paper, might not be the hardest thing to change. But then if you're running it through digital resources, then you have to wait for updates and things like that, which luckily most of them are pretty quick with it.
Yes.
But the good thing about having things like expansions, you can do mini expansions. You
Yeah.
don't have to do big revisions,
sweeping,
and things like that. All you have to do is just like, hey, booster pack blank.
yeah.
Right, because that's literally it, right? Just, we only have combinations of like, so Druid has Sage and Arcana as their domains. They share Arcana with Sorcerer and Sage with Ranger, and then Ranger has Bone as their other one. Sorcerer has Midnight. Midnight branches off into Rogue. Bone branches off into Warrior. Then you hit Blade and what's the other one over here? Grace. So you hit Rogue and Warrior. Those chain into Guardian and Bard, which chains into Wizard and I said Guardian. And then from Wizard and Guardian, you hit Seraph, because Seraph is Valor and Splendor. Wizard is Codex and Splendor. Guardian is Valor and Blade.
The amount of shit that you just lock in.
That's actually insane. I will never be at that level.
So literally, I just imagine it as like a clock.
Yeah, but first
course,
is like
Chrono
you have to imagine it as a clock, and then you have to imagine the things on the clock.
Yeah.
That's I could have a circle and I could have hands. That's it. That's the best I could do, bro. I have to have the reference there. Although I couldn't do that. But like, right? So we've got Sorcerer, Seraph, Guardian, Druid, Rogue, Bard, Ranger,
Wizard.
And like, they don't really have like a one of the patron type of warlock.
No.
They don't really have that yet. That'd be an easy thing to put in there.
Yeah.
They
Right,
don't really have a monk, do they?
No. So you can fight unarmed, but you're dealing D4 damage.
Fair. I mean,
So, I mean, your character's technically proficient with unarmed strikes regardless of class, but it's like...
because like theoretically anybody can punch somebody. And I think that's
that's a decent way to look at it.
But-
yeah, having characters who are really good at it, you know what I mean? And like you said,
that'll be the next thing.
So the funny part is I almost feel like if they were going to do a monk, it feels like their class progression would be picking what like fighting style you would do, whether you're going to be like a staff or nunchaku monk or you're going to be a punchy monk.
Yeah,
so those would be your subclasses. And then I don't even think you need to add new domains. You could do bone, and I would probably say valor.
right.
So that's kind of cool that you could expand without expanding everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
very modular.
They might have had like a wombo ass situation happen.
Right, because I just talked about a Spellblade, right? You just make a new class and you already have existing domains to pull from.
Yeah.
You don't really have to do new domains for a while unless you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can kind of and you could even add 2 domains. You could add additional stuff to domains.
And even if you wanted to save domains for like big revisions and things like that, like we'll say
I love that card has the Predator high five.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
I hadn't even seen that yet.
That's so cool.
That's fun.
That is a Blade card.
Yeah, that is cool as hell. But I think that, save things like domain cards, and I don't know what their release plans are, you know what I mean? Obviously, they just got the full version out, so they're going to let that simmer for as long as it needs to simmer, but I'm sure they're already creating the next thing.
While they were talking about...
That's motherfucking Grog.
Yeah, basically.
Yo!
They put my boy Grog in a card.
They made one of their characters, I think, from Hell's Bells in Daggerheart's system.
Yeah, and speaking of Grog, this is going to be the second time I've mentioned this on the podcast. Max and Chad, you need to get Grog to New York, please. That's
they did another In America video very recently.
I didn't watch it yet, but I want to check it out. I feel like that's just... You gotta announce that it's coming.
Look at this gorilla just fucking killing a dragon.
Kill a gorilla.
Fuck 100 dudes. Like, if you kill dragons, it's over, bro. It's so good. It's so freaking good.
Like I said, I haven't even really looked at the art on all of the cards yet.
Yeah, I think that, and that is just as a package, and I know it's stuff, right? And it's stuff that you can have this in any form, really. But when you go and you spend money on something, it's kind of nice to have a bit of tangibility behind what you're buying.
This is not a digital good, right? I have a digital copy. I can print copies of these cards if I have players that want to use multiples of the same ability.
Yeah.
But just the physical nature of the book, it's just the card. Just being able to sit there like you're at a poker table as you're looking at your vault, at your fucking loadout, and you're like, I really need something in this situation.
Yeah.
My party's getting its ass beat.
And I'm really curious, and I think I might try to run some of this as a one shot just to see how some of my less list receptive players is what I'll say. Just see how it runs and how it works, because it's there, everything's there,
right? And that's the thing, right? I think the longest cards are no more than maybe 3 paragraphs, if that.
Yeah. And I think when you're talking about inclusivity in a system, and inclusivity kind of done right, this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, it's not just representing characters in the form of art or in the form of options.
Yeah,
but it's bringing in players.
Yeah,
and different player types.
Yeah,
you definitely know that this guy's about to spit some fire. He's about to say something.
Yeah.
That card clearly tells you this man's about to start laying it down verbally.
Right.
You're gonna get into it better. And
right. And you look at Bolt Beacon's card, which that dude is about to fucking hit somebody from a mile away.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, what a great setup.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait to. I know I'm very excited to play it. I'm very excited to get into the system. And obviously, kind of goes without saying, I would like to play it on the cast
for sure.
Because I feel as though they have settings you can pick from, which is really good. So does every system, obviously, but
Yeah, but we're getting tired of the Forgotten Realms.
Whoops! That's little drive by to.
That's all. That's his fucking. That's his character right now. It's just drive bys.
He's Chrono Drive By Warden.
He's the guy. He's
the catch you in motion.
Yeah.
I'm on that Chrono Trigger.
Oh! I wish my claps weren't damp.
And with that, we have reached the end. Was it with hope? Was it with fear? You tell us in the comments.
Ooh.
Oh, that was nice.
I like that.
was nice.
That was smooth. That was smooth. Thanks for that call to action. I gotta learn how to be smoother. Like, talk to us, please.
But yeah, it's a system I'm super excited to finally get to play the full release of.
Yes.
Monday is our next session.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. Find us on Twitter at CritHitOfficial. Find us on YouTube exclusively for this video
Ah,
on YouTube.
That is amazing.
thank you, Darrington Press. Thank you, Critical Role.
Yes.
Thank you for, I know you're not a sponsor, but we can talk about it.
No, it's a cool system. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too. We will be doing this on the podcast at some point.
Yes. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell and turn on notifications to stay up to date on everything Crit Hits.
That was sick.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Y'all don't need me. You're rolling with hope. Critical success.